Hello, and welcome back to Librarian of the Rings. Today we're going to be talking about something that is not canon in the world of Tolkien. Welcome back. My name is Ben. I'm the librarian, and today we're going to be entering into the discussion around Tolkien canon. Now, there has been a lot of discussion about this since the ending of Rings of Power Season 2. A lot of this being brought on by an interview the Tolkien professor Corey Olsen did, where he talked about how there isn't any Tolkien canon. And of course, the internet got up in arms about this. Now, Corey Olsen and people like the Nerd of the Rings have already addressed in detail these discussions about what is and is not Tolkien canon, and so I don't feel the need to rehash that here. They all have different reasons for kind of what they believe and what they are going to rely on, and we're all going to have that when it comes to Tolkien. But today I want to talk about something that is definitely not Tolkien canon, so that we can know exactly what is not representing Tolkien's views, and that is the Peter Jackson trilogy.
You don't mean that.
The Peter Jackson films are treated by many people online as though they were somehow perfect carbon copies of Tolkien's ideas just put into a film version, as though they were completely accurate to the things that the professor wanted his story to tell and the characters he was trying to portray. And that's just not the case. In truth, no adaptation of Tolkien's work, not the Rings of Power, not the Peter Jackson films, not the Rankin Bass Hobbit, not even the Magic the Gathering cards, should be considered canon, no matter how closely they resemble the book. And the truth about the Jackson films is that they don't resemble the books that accurately.
And yet you did not have the wit to see it.
Now, if you look at the data for my audience here on YouTube, which is people who are interested in Tolkien things, obviously, you're going to find that the majority of the people watching these videos are males who are 25 to 34 years of age.
What about second breakfast?
Now, this is not surprising, but it is indicative of something, and that is that much of what is happening online as far as Tolkien discussion goes is being driven by people with a movie first view of the world. All of these people in this age range were entering the world of Tolkien either as or after the Peter Jackson films had come out. And as a result, their whole view of the world of Tolkien is shaped and influenced by this as a group.
What have you done to me?
Now, I'm a little bit older than that group, but I was coming into this at the same time that the movies were coming out as well. And it's only because of the fact that I was an early reader and my mother had really strict movie policies that I am able to come to this from a book first perspective. Even so, even if you didn't watch the films as a kid, you were still influenced by the visual style of the films. And so that visual style is kind of ingrained into an entire generation. The only thing that I'm not a book first person for, though, is actually The Hobbit, because I saw the Rankin Bass version of The Hobbit as a kid long before I actually read the book myself. And so in that way, I'm really influenced by that cartoon film and how they chose to depict Bilbo and Gandalf and Thorin and all of Middle-earth. But we need to learn to set these things aside and understand that these adaptations aren't canon, no matter how deeply seated they are in our psyche.
But he's a liar. He's poisoned you against me.
And for a lot of people that's hard, because everything they know about The Lord of the Rings is so influenced by Jackson's films that when they see anything different, they have an immediate adverse reaction to it. We see this in the upcoming War of the Rohirrim film, that they are trying so hard, at least in the American marketing, to tie that film into the Jackson films to make people feel like it's okay, it's going to be accurate, when of course it's a completely different style. It's something different than we've ever seen done with The Lord of the Rings, and that's okay. But people really think that the Jackson films are somehow accurate. Now, the only way to get rid of this notion is for you to read The Lord of the Rings all the way through, and then watch the Lord of the Rings films all the way through. You can watch either the theatrical releases or the extended editions. It doesn't matter, because neither of them are accurate. You will see this if you read and then you watch. From leaving out characters like Tom Bombadil to Glorfindel to just leaving out whole parts of the story like the Scouring of the Shire, which Gandalf said was the entire point of the story, to adding in gratuitous kissing scenes so that you could have Arwen on screen more, and turning Elrond into some kind of weird helicopter parent. The list of things that are inaccurate about the Lord of the Rings films just goes on and on and on. Perhaps none are more egregious, though, than the character changes. Changing characters' motivations completely in characters like Aragorn.
I do not want that power. I have never wanted it.
And Theoden.
I know what it is you want of me, but I will not bring further death to my people.
To just decimating characters like Faramir completely.
Take them to my father. Tell him Faramir sends a mighty gift.
really show how the Lord of the Rings films just aren't accurate to the books at all. But they're still great films. They're still wonderful to watch. They still help us to think about Tolkien, and they still draw us into the world of Middle-earth. They just aren't an accurate depiction of it. And that's okay. But we need to be willing to understand that, and also to make room for other people who also want to show new depictions. And this could be the Rings of Power, it could be the War of the Rohirrim, it could be the Magic the Gathering set, it could be the Tales of the Shire video game, it could be anything. But we have many people, skilled artists in their own right, who are trying to bring more of the world of Tolkien to us, and we should be appreciative of that, and we should be civil in our online discourse and understand that none of these things are canon, none of these things will take away from us the books that we know and love. So my plea to you is, please, stop pretending the Peter Jackson films are canon, make room for other artists' interpretations of Tolkien's work, and be nice to each other on the internet. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Farewell wherever you fare. May your ears receive you at your journey's end.